You've secured an ant buggy, established your base, and are now venturing deep into Brook Hollow Park, but you need a bit more firepower. My name is Kodiak, this is Legacy Gaming, and today we're sharing how to obtain your Orb-Weaver buggy and the advantages and secret locations that instantly become available to you. The Orb-Weaver is a formidable buggy to have at your disposal. What it lacks in its ability to carry resources or chew through root barricades like the red soldier ant, it makes up for in sheer combat strength. Thankfully, you can have both buggies assigned to your radio wheel at all times, so you can call whichever one you need for the current task at hand. First up, let's talk about where to get Orb-Weaver eggs, because these can be obtained long before you actually have the ability to hatch them. However, before you do that, you'll want to make sure you've located and analyzed a mint shard. Fresh mints are one of the 10 rare resources we talk about in our recent video, so check that out if you haven't done so already. Now, analyzing a mint shard unlocks the ability to craft the egg storage workstation within your base. Without this, any eggs left lying around will quickly decay, so if you want to have eggs ready to go when you finally can hatch your Orb-Weaver buggy, this is certainly step one for you. With that out of the way, let's turn our attention to where you can go to obtain Orb-Weaver eggs. And wouldn't you know it, these are all in places where full-grown Orb-Weaver enemies are ready to defend, so make sure you or your group are fully prepared with adequate gear and healing items. In our opinion, the easiest place to get eggs is beneath the Headless Burglebot, pretty much in the middle of the current playable map. The area surrounding it is relatively safe, the eggs are easy to get to, and often you'll be able to get in and out of there while the Orb-Weaver is patrolling, meaning you'll almost never have to put up any serious fight to get these eggs. The other place we'd recommend grabbing Orb-Weaver eggs is from underneath the lamppost just north of the Headless Burgle. This area is quite a bit deadlier, and depending on your progression, you'll want to be cautious as a wolf spider is often camped out here. Again, these spiders leave to patrol, so if you time it right, you can slip in and out without really needing to worry. With your egg in hand, we now need to unlock the ability to incubate that Orb-Weaver at our hatchery, but we just wanted to call out that this next section will get a bit story spoilery. If you don't want the exact details, just know you simply need to advance the main story to the completion of Act 1, which is essentially all of the story content currently in the game at the time of making this video, before you can hatch an Orb-Weaver. Just skip ahead to the Buggy Abilities section timestamped below to avoid any story spoilers. If you want the exact details, here you go. The item you're going to need to obtain is the Network Center Turbo Optical Disc, which grants you access to the Orb-Weaver buggy at the hatchery, as well as the spider nest structure for storing your hatched buggy when placed into the Ranger Station terminal. To get this disc, you'll have to advance the main story to the point that the masked stranger calls for a direct confrontation with you within the massive Dr. Tully and Burgle statue within the Flower Garden and the northeasternmost section of the map. Getting there can be a bit of a challenge, but once you reach the upper garden, head into the hedges and follow the red ribbon. This will lead you into a side garden, some more hedges, and eventually to the statue at the very top. Progress through the Network Center, which is easier said than done, and you'll eventually confront the current final boss. Once you reach the final chamber of the Network Center within Grounded 2, you'll be confronted by the Masked Stranger, currently the last boss in the game, and easily the most difficult. Not only will you have to deal with her raid boss style mechanics, but in Phase 3, you'll have to fight her pet wolf spider. We fully recommend having a weapon that deals fresh damage to deal with her, and a weapon that deals spicy damage to deal with her wolf spider. Both are weak to those types of damage and make the fight significantly less challenging because you can race to DPS them down. Don't forget to come ready with smoothie buffs and bandages, which you'll need, especially if you're trying to solo the encounter. You'll also want the Venom Antidote Smoothie, which in a pinch can save your life. Now, this is a tough fight, but you can avoid a lot of the boss's attacks by using the pillars to obscure the enemy's movements and the new dodge mechanic to avoid attacks outright. If you pull off a victory, you'll gain access to the locked room containing the elusive optical disc with everything you're after. Take the disc back to the Ranger Station, slap it in, learn the Orb-Weaver buggy recipes for 5,000 raw science, and get to hatching your new favorite mount. The Orb-Weaver buggy has great combat capabilities, starting with a potent single target attack, a large AoE web block, and legs that not only give you incredible speed to move across the park, but also considerably more jump height than the Red Soldier Ant. However, what we really care about are the abilities. In terms of on-demand abilities, the Orb-Weaver has two incredibly useful ones. The first is Web Throw, which after a short duration shoots out a glob of webs that deal a small instance of damage and also attaches itself to the terrain and any bugs it hits. This can be incredible for controlling the movements of insects smaller than the Orb-Weaver, as well as bringing flying insects to the ground for an extended period of time. Keep in mind, this attack does absolutely nothing to spiders, the large northern scorpions, and praying mantis nymphs, so don't waste this ability on them. The Orb-Weaver also has a special move called Intimidate. When cast, enemies in a small AoE around the Orb-Weaver will be stunned for a short duration, giving you that opening you need to either land an attack or retreat backwards to replenish your stamina. The ability also has another cool utility that we completely didn't expect. Objects that can be knocked off plants, such as droplets of water, can be quickly brought to the ground by simply activating Intimidate when nearby, giving you an easy way to grab water while on the go for both yourself and your teammates. Finally, let's talk about an awesome passive this buggy unlocks: the ability to walk across webbed surfaces. Throughout Brook Hollow Park, you'll come across a large number of walkways made from spider webbing that, until you have access to an Orb-Weaver buggy, were impassable obstacles. Having the Orb-Weaver allows you to simply scuttle up these surfaces, which often leads to hidden resources, secret items, and more all across the park. In fact, as a bonus element to this video, we wanted to point out a couple web locations that we think are worth talking about, but if you want to discover these for yourself, of course, stop watching. One of the first locations you have access to with your Orb-Weaver buggy is a web walk on the southern side of the hot dog cart. A series of webs from the ground lead up to a box across a water spigot and up the side of the cart. Here you'll find some Orb-Weaver spawn, but also multiple chewing gum nodes to farm. If you didn't know, you can adjust your smoothies with bases, which change the properties of the smoothies you're crafting. Gum increases the duration of the smoothie's effects, which is wildly helpful. I can tell you that you'll never have enough gum, so having a reliable set of multiple nodes to farm is pretty awesome. Another location we want to point out is the webbing that grants you access to the very top of the Headless Burgle. Here you'll find another chewing gum node, 3 mosquito spawn, which sounds terrible but is actually valuable, in a Mega Milk Molar, which you'll need to upgrade that all-important resource stack size. One of our absolute favorite locations that opens up when you have access to the Orb-Weaver is the Bucket of Acorns. To the northwest of the picnic table, there is a large green bucket with plastic knives and some webbing that grants you access to 6 acorns at the bottom of the bucket. Sure, acorns can be found easily enough at the various oak trees, but no other area offers this many in such a condensed location. Hit this place up whenever they respawn and you will never, I mean never, run out of acorns again. Featured in our upcoming unique weapons video, this final web location takes you into the Lingonberry hedgerow towards the far north end of the park. If you work your way all the way up these series of branches here, making your way across every web path you see, eventually you'll come across a hidden chest that contains the unique bow, Bushwhacker. This is a great weapon for initiating fights because of its unique cheap shot perk that makes you hit even harder when landing the first shot on a bug when it's at full health. Of course, there are more web walks to find yourself out in the park. These are just some of our favorites. So there you have it, everything you need to know to not only obtain your Orb-Weaver buggy, but how to maximize its potential and make your life substantially easier in Brook Hollow Park. As always, if you appreciate the work that goes into making guides like this, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing. We'll have more Grounded 2 in your feed soon, so keep it right here and never miss a thing. My name is Kodiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.